Hey everyone, want to learn how to make the small challah or the bigger one? Stay tuned because the video is about to start. Okay, now after you finished watching the ingredients, let's start working on the dough, and we're going to start with a small bowl and working on the starter. So we will take the yeast, all of it, into a small bowl, half a teaspoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of flour. We will take a fork, mix all the dry ingredients, and again we put here sugar, flour and the yeast. We're going to mix it a little bit and add a little bit from the water, about 80 milliliters, something like that. And this is going to check that the yeast is actually alive, and we don't need to actually throw everything if the yeast is not working and we need to start over again. Set it aside, give it 5 minutes, so it's going to start rising and you will see much more bubbles, and this is the indication that the yeast is actually alive and we can use it. Meantime, we're going to take a big bowl and mix all the dry ingredients together. So we're going to put the flour, all of the sugar, salt, and mix it. So all of the salt, sugar, we're going to mix. Now we're going to get a hole in the middle by pushing the flour to the side. Now we're going to add some of the liquids, and by the liquids we mean olive oil. We have 3 eggs and we're going to use only 2 now, for 2 for the dough itself, and 1 we're going to use the egg yolk to brush on top before we're putting it into the oven. Water and the yeast that it's already puffed up, so come closer, take a look. Olive oil, eggs. We have our puffed yeast. This is the indication, as you see, all the bubbles and the texture that the yeast is actually working, and it's very nice. So what we will do, we'll take the fork, mix a little bit the eggs inside, a little bit with the flour, and add all of the yeast. Now I'm going to take a little bit from the water to clean the edges. Use all the yeast that we have and put it together. I'm going to add a little bit more water. Start mixing. Pushing a little bit from the flour from the edges to the middle and mixing it together. All the ingredients, as I said already, in the description below, also with the method of cooking, so make sure to check that out. And I'm not adding all the water at once, I'm adding a little bit by a little bit, because again, if you're going to put too much water, after that you will need to put more flour and more salt, and you're taking the recipe out of balance. So better to use a little bit by a little bit. When you see all the ingredients come together, now you don't need the fork, you just need your hands. Let's move to the other table and start kneading the dough. And I'm using the dough also to scrape all the excess flour from the side. Let's move it to the table, put a little bit flour and start kneading it for about 8-10 minutes. Okay, in this moment we are already 8 minutes into the process of kneading the dough. And this one, as you can see, everything with the hands, no mixer needed. So make sure to work it out. The texture that we are looking for is when you're going to stop kneading the dough, you will see it coming down and it's going to start sticking to the table or to your hands. So in this moment, don't add more flour, just start kneading it and push it over the table. And you really want to work the dough out, otherwise you don't have the gluten and it's not going to rise nicely. And we want the gluten also because the challah, we're going to stretch the balls that we're going to make from it. Okay, now I'm going to take a bowl and keep mixing the dough. I'm going to take olive oil, just a drizzle. I'm going to make a nice shape from it. Try to work as fast as you can so the dough is not going to stick. to your hands. Make a ball, a nice one, and place it into the bowl and cover it with the oil. So it's not going to stick to the bowl, and also it's not going to dry out. And cover it. Just the light on, low temperature, and in the oven for about 1 hour. Now it's time to check the challah dough after 1 hour. Beautiful! So now what we're going to do, we're going to take a knife and start cutting it into pieces. We'll need a scale, a knife, tray with parchment paper. Again, the parchment paper doesn't need to fit. We're going to create the balls, and then we're going to second proof them for another 45 minutes. Then create the challah shape, give it a final proof, and into the oven. So come closer, need to take a look at it. So in this moment, I'm going to take the dough out, put the ball on the scale, and put the dough inside to see how much we have actually. So we have 700 grams. We're going to make really small challah of 100 grams and another bigger one of 600. So what we will do, we're going to cut 100. Beautiful. This is 100. This one, 600, we're going to cut it into 3, where each one 200. This is 1. Now let's take the small one. $30. Now we have our small challah and the bigger one, and now we're going to create the balls. So we're going to take each piece and stretch it so we can bring it to a nice shape. Like this. What we're going to do, we're going to stretch it, bring them in the middle, so we have a nice shape on top, and circle it on the table, so all the layers down are going to be locked. And now put it on a tray. You can see already the gluten and the air that's created in the inside. Now with the small one, same thing. Bring it together, roll it on the table, and you have the small balls. Another one. Now we're going to let them poof again, but this time with the tray on top. Because the dough can be sticky sometimes, better to put a cover on top and put it as it is again into the oven, only with the light on, not working temperature, otherwise you're going to bake your challah and it's going to be bun bread instead of challah bread. So another proof for 45 minutes in the oven, then we're going to start create the challah shape. Now our challah balls are ready. So what we're going to do, we're going to make the challah shape, and you need to come closer to see how I'm going to do it. And we prepared bigger sheet with parchment paper and a little bit oil spray on it. Take the air a little bit, like the process of the gnocchi. Bring it together on the back side and start rolling. The last ball. Also stretch it a little bit, put it on the other side, bring it together, and start roll it. Now we have the 3 strings. 1 and 3. Bring them together and using the edge of the table, with the gravity. Let's start making the shape. 1. Right to the left. Left to the middle. After that, we're going to fix the edge. Right to the left, left to the middle. Right to the left, left to the middle. And again, continue until you are done. Pinch it, the end, and let's fix a little bit this side. And beautiful. Put it on the tray. You can make the challah itself wider, longer. It depends what you want. I prefer to do it like this because sometimes I like to make a bruschetta from it. Now I will make the same with the small one. And 3. And again. Bring them together, right, the left, left, to the middle, right, to the left, go back, open it, and bring them together. Pinch them, going to put them together, going to let them proof third and last time. So we're going to cover them, give them another 40 minutes, and then take them out, heat the oven, brush them, and bake them. So now our challah is ready, and we're going to use the egg yolk to brush them, and we're going to put 4 seasoning pepper, ground salt, and sesames. I'm using black and white to give it nice contrast of colors. You really want to go in between the strips because the dough, when it's going to be in the oven, is going to puff and those strips are going to come up. And when they're coming up, you're going to see the difference in color if you're not going inside of them a little bit. Now, I'm going to use the rock salt, put it a little bit on top, and the pepper. And this one I really like. Just flip it and shake it a little bit. Beautiful. And now into the oven. The oven is already preheated to 180 degrees Celsius, and I'm giving the first 5 to 10 minutes with the water. I'm saying 5 to 10 minutes because 10 minutes for this one and 5 minutes for this one, because this one is going to bake much faster than the bigger one. So the small challah going to be in the oven for roughly 12 to 15 minutes, I think. Yeah, I will give it that. And for the bigger one, I'm going to give it put around 20 to 25 minutes. Everything else without water. So it's actually going to proof more in the first 10 minutes, and then it's going to get the color. So now let's put it in the oven. Now we have the small challah already on the plate, and it's look beautiful. A different color. And now let's take the bigger one. You see how it puffed, and you have the shape, and it came very nice. So if you want to learn how to make this challah, start from the beginning of the video. So if you like this video, let me know in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe because more of those recipes are coming up every week. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Andre and this is ThinkOFood.